What up, folks? You've made it. It's your favorite comic on the come up, back for season 3 of the Comedy Chatter Podcast. If you've been searching for a pod that talks all things comedy from the perspective of a rising comic, as well as kicking with some of the dopest comedians in the business, then this is the podcast for you. What up, good peeps? It's your man, Meldon Williams, back at it for another episode of the Comedy Chatter Podcast, Season 3, Episode 7. Hey, I'm gonna keep it all the way real with y'all, man. This ain't no, hey, I'm just saying this type shit. This comedian I interviewed this go round, this was without a doubt one of my best interviews thus far. I'm damn near 30 episodes in, just so y'all know. Like I said, appreciate all the folks that's been showing me love and coming and subscribing and supporting. But yeah, Comedy Chatter Podcast is doing fairly well because of you guys, and I appreciate it. But like I said, I'm not just saying this shit lightly. Man, this one right here was definitely one of the dopest interviews that I've had out of all of them, man, because the dude's energy was amazing. He has so much insight because he's been getting it in for so long. And hey, you guys are going to love it, man. The one and only Philadelphia's own Temple Owl, by the way. I didn't even know that, but the one and only TuRae Gordon, man. Comedian TuRae, man. Y'all got to check this interview out. Like I said, he was awesome. I got a chance to catch him. He was up in the ATL, and so he performed all weekend at the ATL. Maurice Sims, shout out to my man Maurice Sims. I've interviewed him as well. He's got comedy promotion in Atlanta on lock. So TuRae performed at all of his rooms over the weekend. And then, because he's such a comedy junkie, got on over to Uptown, man, and, did a guest spot there at my man G-Thang's show. Shout out to G-Thang. And G-Thang, man, I appreciate you too, man. He was nice enough to let us use the green room. You know, the headliners, they're allotted the green room since they're headlining. And while he was on stage, he was nice enough to let us use the green room. And that's where I got my man TuRae's interview. And you guys are going to love it. You already know how I go. Shouts out Roger Feeney, man. Thank you so much to all the people, too, that donated for the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. I know a lot of folks, like with this whole pandemic and everything, man, a lot of the comedy clubs and the dinner theaters and places like that's been getting hit. So they did a GoFundMe, man, and hey, man, folks showed up and showed out. And so the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, I'm happy to report, is back open now. They back, doing their thing. Of course, they're doing all the, pandemic guidelines. But my man Roger, man, I'm so happy to hear that y'all back at it, man. Can't wait to come back down there and get back on stage. Lord knows it's been a whole, like I said, hey, when I took off, I took off. I wasn't playing around. I was like, hey, y'all, I ain't about to get sick for no goddamn body. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way I felt. But, we kind of getting on the other side of this thing. I'm happy that, people are back out and performing. And so, shout out to my man Roger and Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. David Pittman, sound and editing guy, helped me put all this thing together. Both of those gentlemen saw my vision when nobody else did and helped me out. And here I am today, with the Comedy Chatter Pod on all podcast platforms, including, and this is my big news this go around, they just accepted it for Pandora as well. So that was pretty much the only thing that I wasn't on. You had to kind of go through a little screening process, I guess. But hey, I guess I was worthy. So y'all can catch the Comedy Chatter Podcast now on Pandora. So I was hype as hell when I was just kind of like, putting it on podcasts and just kind of scrolling. And it was just kind of playing shit. And then my shit popped up. Hey, I was like, oh, yeah, dude. I'm doing something. I'm doing something constructive with my motherfucking time when my shit pop up on Pandora. I can't wait till somebody in the car just driving and my shit pop up on there like, hey, this Mel's podcast. You damn right. That's what it is. Like, yeah, I should have been listening, subscribing, and supporting it before that. No, I'm fucking around. Y'all know. I'm humble, but yes, I'm just very happy that it's on Pandora now. Back in the Day sponsor. Let me go ahead and explain Back in the Day sponsor to y'all. This is a segment I do every episode, man, every go around. So the Back in the Day sponsor, man, I basically, like, hey, y'all already know all these podcasts nowadays, man, they getting paid. They got, people that's, like the podcast hosts and the producers, they make money off of it, like from the sponsors, you know what I'm saying? Because I guess their platform is bigger than that. They got, like all these, huge comedians, D.L. Hughley, Kevin Hart, all these dudes got their podcasts. So of course, with their followings, man, they're going to have motherfuckers that want to sponsor them. So, whatever sponsor it is. Me, I don't have none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a labor of love for me. I don't get paid a cent. Like, this is all just me coming and doing this thing, on my own. I, produce edit, host, all the shit myself. So I don't have any sponsors. So I told myself, hey, if I did have some sponsors, like who would they be? And so I told myself, you know what, let's go ahead and start thinking about all the like childhood stores that when I was young, I'm an 80s baby. So I came up in the 80s, born in 77. And so I'm an 80s baby. And so I was like, man, all them stores that's, kind of now, some of them now are out of business. So guess what? I'm gonna use those as my sponsor because hell, I can't get sued from motherfuckers that's out of business. You know what I mean? I can't just say right now Kroger's is my sponsor. I can't say right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, like Facebook is my sponsor. Like, yeah, sue the shit out of me. But I could damn sure say TuRae Records is a sponsor of mine because TuRae Records is no longer. You know what I'm saying? I could say Blockbuster Video is a sponsor. And so I just have fun with it, man. That's what back in the day sponsor is. And anytime y'all see that, BITDS. So this go around, back in the day sponsor, goddammit, A&P grocery store. Hey, if y'all motherfuckers didn't have to get, if y'all don't remember A&P back in the day, like motherfuckers, hey, run me around the corner to the A&P. Remember that? That was like, hey, that was the number one place motherfuckers needed you to run them back in the day. Run me around the corner to the A&P. And A&P, man, I found out it stand for Greater Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company. So Atlantic and Pacific, basically. Shit, they had a hell of a run. At one point, they was the largest grocery retail store in America. But hey, times change, mother. So you never really know why shit go out of business. That's why business is so fickle. But yep, 2015, they was out of there. That was the last time. So that's my back in the day sponsor this go around, the A&P. Had fun last time with the trivia. Somebody hit me up, said they wanted that t-shirt. They answered my question. The trivia question last go around was, who was my very first comedy podcast guest? The answer to that was Dean Edwards, my man Dean Edwards, man. So, hey, I give out a t-shirt anytime. So the first person that hits me up and answers the trivia correctly, they get a t-shirt. So you'll see the t-shirts and the people wearing their t-shirts online, fairly soon. But I'm loving that. So that's a new segment. This go around, trivia question goes just like this. Who was my first female comedian guest on the podcast? Who was my first female comic guest on the podcast? You guys hit me up however you want to hit me up. Facebook, Twitter, email, all that good stuff. Instagram, hit me up. Hey, first person I hear from with the correct answer, they get a shirt. I get you your shirt, man. You take a picture of it and tell them, hey, you won the Comedy Chatter Podcast trivia. And this is the shirt. Shirts are dope, too. I like them a lot. All right, I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. That's pretty much all I got for y'all this go around. I don't have, like I told you, I ain't been on stage in damn near a calendar year, so I don't have any new material. I usually kind of put like a real quick snippet of me on stage doing live comedy, but Lord knows I haven't done that in a while, so we on the other side of this thing at this point, man. People getting vaccinated, people are, wearing their masks, people are finally taking this COVID shit seriously, and we also got we also have another competent leader in the White House now. We got somebody competent. So since this motherfucker taking it seriously, then guess what? The rest of his country is taking it seriously. We got the right scientists and doctors and everybody in that motherfucker, so people starting to listen. We got the people where we need to be, as opposed to the last some bitch that was just like, hey, man, you don't need to worry about that COVID shit, man. You good. He's basically telling the whole country, you good. Some bitch is dying every day. He's like, yeah, y'all good. Don't even get me started. But yeah, man, we on the other side of this thing, and I say all that to say, hey, I'll be back on stage soon. But without further ado, Season 3, Episode 7, Comedy Chatter Podcast with comedian TuRae. Check him out. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Comedy Chatter Podcast. Your host, Meldon Williams, Melly Mel. You already know me. I'm with my man, Philadelphia's finest, a.k.a. Luke Stage, the one and only Mr. TuRae. How you doing, sir?
What's good with you, man? How you?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. It's been a while. I've been trying to get...
man. You tracked me down, man. You got it done, man. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. But like I said, I always start off just appreciating all these comics. Like I said, I'm just kind of a low to totem pole dude just trying to come up, and they grant me these opportunities to interview them.
Yes.
And so, hey, I just appreciate y'all for doing that. Thank you so much.
Man, we appreciate you appreciating us. So,
yes.
Shining a light in any capacity is always a good thing. So we thank you, man.
That's what I'm talking about. So, like I already mentioned, man, Philly native, right?
Yeah,
born and raised?
Born and raised.
Okay, yeah. Most of the time I have to get that out the way because sometimes people be out and they're almost like Michael Jordan. Don't nobody know he's from Brooklyn.
Right.
Everybody think he Wilmington. Right. So I got to ask that first. So,
yes,
born and raised.
Born and raised.
All right. Cool.
And still resides.
And still there.
Yes,
that's
sir.
something I'm going to ask you about later, too.
Yes, sir. A
lot of folks think that you have to leave and do the whole New York and the whole L.A. But we're going to get to that, though.
Yes,
we're going to get to that because you're still there. Yep. So, hey, I got a TuRae story, actually.
Okay.
I've been waiting to tell you this forever, man, by the way. Because, like I said, it's all about, my whole podcast is about comedy journeys. So a part of my comedy journey is, I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's where I grew up. Chicago originally, but I grew up in Ann Arbor. So we'd always drive up to Detroit. And I saw you for the first time at Coco's House of Comedy. You remember that?
Yes, man. Yes.
That was the spot at the D, right?
Detroit spot, right.
Yeah,
right.
One of them. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
The major one.
Yeah,
the major one.
That was definitely the major
yes,
one. Yeah, exactly. So I saw you there for the first time, ripped up the stage. But I can remember, I wasn't doing comedy at that. This was a while back. Right. I wasn't even doing comedy at that point. But you said something that was real interesting to me, and it just hit me. You was like, yeah, man, I'm letting y'all know right now. Any of y'all that's thinking about doing comedy out there, hey, it's got to be 10 years before you even think about being good.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. So I never thought about that until I started doing it.
Right.
And I was like, man, you know what? I always went back to that. Like, some of these people, man, nowadays is blowing up. They a year on social media and all that, because that's different. But like you said, man, before you good, hey, you got to put a good amount of time into this stage.
Yeah.
And so, when I first heard that from you, I was like, I can't wait to interview him and tell him. And that's always stuck with me.
Oh, man,
I was like, hey, 10 years before you can even think about doing something.
Well, I hate that whatever I was feeling, whatever arrogance I was feeling, it could be put a time on it. It's not so much a time, it's experiences. And I guess, like somebody was like, when did you, like I was watching a young comedian, I was at Sweet last night, and I was watching a young comedian, and he didn't do well, and the comedians all laughing, and I laugh too. We laugh, it happens.
Of course.
But there's a part of me that always goes, I was there one time.
Yep.
I was there where I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I just knew I wanted to be on stage. I didn't know who I was. And it took a while for me to find who I was and then go, all right, this who I am. This is how I do comedy. And then go from there to go, let me build a strong set. Let me have something to talk about. Let me have talents and abilities and stage presence. Takes a while to build that. So,
exactly.
Cats blow up. Success happens in many different ways. Motherfuckers hit a lick, so to speak.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that they're as good at what they're doing as they will be.
Yes. True.
Some of these guys, if they stick with it, if they don't go off the beaten path, if they just pull a Tekashi, because I watched that documentary, man.
I ain't seen it yet.
He just cashed in, like, fuck it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get famous.
I'm going to be crazy.
Right, and when he got famous, so if a lot of them cats don't take the bag as far as the comedians that's doing it and have early success, if they stay in the game, so to speak, stay doing comedy, stay in the comedy opportunities that are being presented to them, they'll be better actors, they'll be better skit makers, they'll be better comedians 10 years from now as opposed to where they are now.
Exactly.
Now, if these motherfuckers get hit 3-4 movies and make $100 million. I remember I had a conversation with Brandon T. Jackson, man. There's no bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
We was at the Comedy Cellar in New York, and I just got on stage, and he said to me, yo, I wish I could do what you do on stage. And I was like, what you mean? He was like the way you control a crowd, I don't have that ability, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and I understood what he was saying, and I looked at him and I was like, what you want out of this? And he's like, what you talking about?
Good question.
You were in the highest grossing comedy film of all time. I'm like, what do you, I said, if you want to be a better comedian, then do that. I straight told him that. I said, get on the road. It's not like you can't book 52 clubs in 52 weekends.
They gonna hire him.
They're gonna hire you. Hire a writer. Get out here and grind up your set if that's what you want.
Yeah.
But most of us doing this want to get to where
you
are. So I don't know what to tell you, Chief. You know why I'm good? Cause I ain't got shit. I ain't got $100 million movie. I ain't got 52 weekends. I gotta be good every time I go on stage.
I'm grinding.
It's what I got. So.
Exactly. Yep. Like I said,
it takes a minute to develop it.
Yeah, I never forgot
doing
that.
Shit on your podcast.
No,
scratching my throat.
Hey,
people.
The funniest thing is I do that too. So I was gonna let it go right on with it. I get it.
Yeah.
So how long has it been since you were on a hiatus? Like from the COVID? Like when was the last? Like how long was the stretch?
It went from March to July. Like
okay.
As far as the no stage stretch, it went from March of 2020 to July 2020.
Yeah. So it was a few months.
And that was the longest. And you'll never hear me talk shit about athletes again and being rusty. I just never thought, because my whole comedy life, I've been able to get on stage a lot. I've been blessed.
Yeah.
Whereas I left the habit of physically writing jokes down in a book 3-4 years in the game. Yeah. Because I could go on stage with a thought and work a joke. But in my comedy class, I teach comedians to have a joke book. I still have one, but normally what's in my joke book is when I perform on TV. Wow. They normally want you to stick to a set time. Okay. So I write an outline. But other than that, I don't write like that anymore. It's like I go right in the booth, and it's not bragging. It's just as a comedian, you need time to work it out on stage. Well, I've always had time. I started out to laugh. I started at a club.
Yes.
So I was like the little boy in the club. So it's like go and do guest spot. So I guest spotted my life, so I was always on stage. So to go last year from March to July and not be on stage, like I literally I got on stage in Brooklyn, had an outdoor little event. Nice. It was almost like somebody pushed the whole club outside. But it was very nice. It was set up for comedy. It was set up for you to win. It was just outside. And I mean, I did okay. I got through it. But I definitely in my head knew I told the joke backwards. Yeah. Like told the punchline first and then was like, but in my head, the crowd just didn't laugh because it didn't make sense. But in my head, it was like, yo,
man. Yeah, that ain't nothing but rust.
Yeah, that was definitely rust. So man, that was the longest I've ever been without being on stage.
Without being on stage, yeah. Okay, so I did a little homework. 73, right? June 15th, 73? That's when you got here?
That's when I got here.
All right. So talk to me about from then, before the first time you got on stage. So basically, all that time until before the first time you got on stage, what drove TuRae to comedy? Like, how was TuRae as a child? And what, was it parents? Was it a dare? Like, what got you to comedy to get on that stage for the first time?
Well, I'm an only child.
Okay.
Went to Catholic school.
Okay.
But this Luke stage 6'6", 240 plus sitting here now wasn't always how I grew up. So I grew up tall, skinny, and dark skinned. Yeah. So the ridicule was heavy.
You had the blaze. Right. That's what we called it. What y'all call it?
And I don't honestly say I wasn't bullied, but I also wasn't able to always avoid being talked about.
Exactly.
So most times I just took it because it really didn't bother me because I didn't grow up sad. I had a great childhood. My parents I'm an only child. My parents loved me. Exactly. I had 3 parents. My mom remarried right after my dad moved to New York. So my dad moved when I was 2. Okay. So my mom remarried when I was not right after, but when I was 8, my mom remarried. So my stepdad is as much my dad as my dad. So I was blessed to have 2 men that loved me like a father. Exactly. And then my mom. So I didn't grow up fucked up. So I guess what I'm saying is it didn't bother me, but when it did get to a point, I was the type I didn't go back and forth. It was a headshot. I was gonna say something to shut this down right now, and it was like one of my favorite comedians in the world in my top 5, and I'm so glad I got a chance to tell him when I met him. Is Damon Wayans.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot of people don't know Damon Wayans was that guy. He went that way. Not to say he stepped out of. But the opportunities of comedy and where his family and everything in the show, he didn't do as much stand-up as his first 2 stand-ups. Man, go back, watch them 2 stand-up specials.
I remember the one on HBO.
Yo, man, he had a joke about being in dozens, and he said, because of the win, there's 12 of them and all that. He grew up with clubfoot. Yeah. And, all of that, and somebody said something. And he said he tripped out like, "Oh, you want to get real, huh?" And he says, "Why don't you talk about your mother that's on welfare? You broke like you snapped like." And that's how I distinctly remember. No bullshit. This is not not bragging. You just tell a story. I grew up with my mom had a housekeeper, and one time our housekeeper couldn't be there. Because there was a woman that we had known a long time. She was doing it for years. So my mom hired this lady from my grandmother's church. Right. I knew the lady because I used to go to my church with my grandmother. Yeah. And she had sons. Now the sons was them, loud mouth, whatever. So I happened to go on a, like one of the church trips.
Yeah.
So I'm acting like I don't remember. It was Great Adventure. Well, which is Six Flags to everybody else. In New Jersey, the New Jersey location of Six Flags is called Great Adventure. So we went to Great Adventure. That's what we call it in Philly, like Great Adventure. So we went to Great Adventure, and I'm on the church, but church bus, school bus.
Oh man,
I'm in the back.
Buses. That's where they go down.
Right. So I'm in the back, and they corner me because it's two of them. She has two sons. So they got the whole, basically they just light me up. The whole bus laughing at me. So I'm soaking it up. And it's like, I know that they know that they mom cleans my house. Like I know that they know this. Like,
hey, and they thinking you not gonna go there.
Right, and I'm like, hell man, just make sure your mom on time in the morning. Yo, I tell you, them niggas on the bus is like, what's this about?
Like
what's he talking to?
What did that mean?
Because it was a mom joke. It was a mom lie. It was like, whoa. What's he mean your mom on time?
Hey, I bet they settled their ass down.
I tell you, they had nothing else to say.
Oh man.
But it was even worse. We go to Great Adventure. At this point, I'm the only kid having a good time. Well, me and the other kids. Them two, they was miserable because they couldn't even ride the rides because once they said something to somebody, it was like they had to tell everybody.
They had to tell everybody.
So we all riding the ride. They over there under the tent.
Oh,
I see the pointing and all of the whispering. I get home because I ain't go to the church with my grandmother's church. I go with my grandma. My mom dropped me off on the weekend, so I get home. I get home Sunday night. I remember distinctly. The phone rang. My mom was like, you hear my mom talking because I was in my room. You hear, like Charlie Brown. The next thing she go on, did you tell
what the hell
Sister
did you
Jerry kids? I said, Mom, you don't understand. It was like they was
ripping me.
What they was saying to you that was wrong to me. I said, Mom,
they was ripping me.
They're right. They was ripping me. So yeah, that's where it developed as far as the ability to keep niggas off me. All right, so that's
gotcha.
Two, I always had an appreciation for stand-up comedy. I was blessed my dad moved to New York. New York was one of the first places that had cable. They used to have a thing back in the day called Manhattan Cable. It's basically HBO, but a lot of public access cable channels.
Gotcha.
So HBO was one of the first spots to just run comedy specials. So I grew up just watching white dudes stand still, traditional joke comedy, and the greats, Richard Jennings, Louis Black, cats just, I'm like, wow, damn. So I'm watching it as a child with an appreciation for it. I knew this is funny. My grandmother, my dad's mom, used to run a speakeasy. She used to run numbers. So she had speakeasy in the basement. So I was like the kid from Harlem Nights. Like when I would go over there. Yeah,
Mr. Raymond cigarettes.
They would go give me some cigarettes. So I would be around all of this party talk. But she also had the party records. And that's the first time I ever listened to Richard Pryor. And I knew that was something. And not so much I never thought about doing comedy. I'll get to it. Okay. But I never really thought about it. I knew listening to this guy that I couldn't see. Yeah, that was the thing. I couldn't see this dude.
Audio was powerful, bro.
Right? I'm like this, like the dudes up that I'll be watching at my dad's house, but he funny. Like he I'm on the floor as an 8-9-year-old, like understanding it. So it built an appreciation for me. And then now this is crazy because here I am, damn, I never thought about that until I'm sitting right here. All right, because I never thought I would be a comedian. I went to school for law. I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I got a degree in history, but that's only because when I go to see my counselor, first couple months, I'm taking pre-law classes. She's like, what do you want to do?
What are you doing?
And I'm like, I'm being a lawyer. She's like, they teach you everything you need to know about law school. What do you want to major in? Get you a degree so you can work while you in law school.
Exactly.
So my favorite subject was history, so I took the history. Anyway.
Gotcha.
It wasn't until I got to college that comedy came into an existence. Anyway, at my 13th birthday, and I'll back up again, but at my 13th birthday, I remember distinctly, for my 13th birthday, I wanted an ice cream cake from Carvel, and I wanted my mom to let me watch Eddie Murphy Delirious. And she did.
Okay.
But it was like a request, so I knew I had just this affinity for this dude, and to me, it was like Richard Pryor was this guy, and then here's this young guy.
This young gun.
Yeah, he was young and he was doing it. And it was like, yo, that's different. Like, it was visual to me. It was visualized to me. But it's, again, still not thinking me. But it was like, that guy is the guy. Like, I'm following that guy now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like from Dr. J to Michael Jordan.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Like, that's the guy now with him. And so I get to college. And again, I just always quick wit.
Where'd you go?
Right. Temple.
Oh, okay. You went to Temple.
Yeah, I went to Temple University. And I just became quickly known in my freshman year to dude around campus. You don't want to say no stupid shit around. Don't say nothing stupid around so they gonna take it in.
So you gonna read them.
Right, like so. And it was more of a defense mechanism or a way to introduce myself around campus. Because again, I'm not affiliated. I don't have no frat. I'm just, I'm not playing ball at the time. I'm just a student, a freshman from a Catholic school at that. So it's like,
so you have to create your
half the motherfuckers I came in with that went to, nobody went to Temple. Like everyone went to different schools.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. I'm around campus and this girl walks up to me, Stacey Jackson. She's a minister in North Carolina.
Shout out Stacey.
Stacey Jackson, yes. Well, I'm sorry. Her name is her maiden name is Stacey Jackson. I will find out. Get back to you. But shout out Stacey Jackson because she walked up to me. You know how women have a way. She was attracted to me or nothing. She was the president of the student control board. But women have a way of just communicating directly to men. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you coming to my open mic night tonight? I was like, where's open mic night? And she was like, you go up and tell jokes. We got a band and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't even know. I was just thinking, you said, I ain't no comedian. She looked me dead in my face. She like, you funny as shit. and
that hit you. You was like, really?
Okay, well, she's like, we got free refreshments. I was like, can my friends come? She's like, they got a program sticker, which is like the little thing on your ID that you would pay.
Oh, yeah.
So you go campus activities for free.
School, yeah.
She was like, yeah, if they got a program sticker, it's free. If not, it's like $1. I was like, oh, we'll be there. Because it's free refreshments.
Exactly.
You get high, go up on there. And,
you definitely
and I just jumped on stage and talked about my experience of 3 months of college at this point. Because I just I'm a freshman.
So, nothing written down or nothing. Just went up there
talked about my friend in the front row. And at the end of the night, they gave me a little offering envelope that they gave all the performers. Everybody got, because they had money, these programs have budgets. So it's like you got to pay somebody.
Yeah.
So they paid all the performers $50. So,
oh, shit.
Right. It was like.
Freshman in college?
It was like, money for this? That was delight. That was like, so.
Damn, that's a hell of a story. Yeah, that's a start.
Yeah. Now, the crazy thing is, I didn't perform again for another year.
Oh, okay.
Like, I didn't know what to do. It's like, all right, I ain't done it.
Yeah.
And you know what it was? I'm walking around campus. Yeah, you see, I'm funny. So it was burgeoning, and it was like a year later, the Delta Sigma Theta had a star search, like a real star search with a comedy category and a dance category, and
Okay.
So like star search you do it back in the day, and they found me and was like, yo, you want to compete? Now there was another dude. It's so funny because the nigga came and seen me at a show in North Carolina not too long ago. This dude on campus, his name was Terry Manigo.
Shout out Terry.
Yeah, he's originally from Brooklyn. I remember that. And he was the campus funny guy. He lived on campus. See, I didn't live on campus. I'm from Philly.
Okay.
Temple is a Philadelphia school, so
Philadelphia.
I went home.
Yeah, you can go to the house.
Right.
Yeah.
So I ain't live on campus. So he lived on campus, so he had all that. And by then, my natural confidence probably just got me by again on him, and I won.
Oh, okay. The Star Search.
So I won the Star Search, and I
awesome.
won. And there was a live band there that played all the music for all the contestants or whatever. And the dude got my number. He's like, hey, man, if I ever hear any comedy stuff, I'll give you a call. I was like, all right, cool.
I'll take it.
Here we go now. Another year goes by.
Damn.
I'm working. I'm going to school. I don't know how time to go.
Yeah.
And the phone rings. And I'm still living at home with my mom because I remember he called, I had my own line. So the phone ringing my room.
Okay, you had that phone in your room.
Yeah, man. And
I remember those days.
Yeah, and the brother says to me, man, he says, hey, this is Stacey McGee. Shout out Stacey McGee.
Shout out.
Serious Mix Band. I said, hey, how you doing, bro? I remember you. He's like, yeah, my cousin runs this Monday night down in South Philly, comedy night. You should come down. So I was like, cool. He gave me the information, so I go down, and my dad, I wasn't even driving. I mean, like I'm from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
I would say comfortable. Like I didn't need a car. Like if I needed a car, my dad would take me or out with my boys. I was out with my boys, or I would catch the bus. Like I was one of them dudes.
Exactly.
So I didn't mind getting around on the bus. Yeah, my dad takes me, and I left my wallet home, and he did too. Like it was just a dummy move on both our part. I forgot why I left mine home.
Yeah.
Guess gotta figure out who my dad. It was just, I remember I looked at it and just walked out my room like.
Yeah.
And he gets to, so we get to the door, and what it is the dude is giving away it's a comedy showcase, but the winner is like Apollo style. The winner get $100. So we get to the door, he like $5. And I'm like, $5? I don't have my wallet. I don't have no money. My dad has $5 on him. That's all he got.
One person going in.
Right, so my dad pays for me, and he goes and sits in the car for 3 hours.
Man.
I was so heated that I was in this position that this man had to charge me, and my dad couldn't come in with me, so I remember because arrogance doesn't. I'm not always arrogant outright. I normally am arrogant now when I get off stage.
Yeah,
because it's like you seen it, nigga. But he made me so mad, and it wasn't that I was mad at him because it's his show. It's how he been running. What the fuck you got to do that I left my wallet home?
Yeah.
But I was so mad. I remember saying to him, I was like, "You just gonna be giving me $95 at the end of the night." So I go up and I perform, and I win. And the nigga goes, "I want you to be my host every week."
Oh, okay.
That's where I started comedy. That's where I met D. Lee, who would be my mentor, and everybody else in the. That's where comedy opened for me.
Gotcha.
Now I knew where to go, and who to perform with, and so that But that's how I got it.
It's funny. That's exactly where I'm going next. You read my mind. This is one of my reoccurring questions. So I always like to know with the comedians that I interview. Like, when you came up, did you come up with, like, a comedy fraternity? Like, you see, they got Sandler, they got Rock all in together, and, or were you just a lone wolf? They was just kind of doing it on your own?
I wouldn't call it lone wolf. I was blessed to have a mentor who was
you mentioned.
My mentor is D. Lee. My direct mentor is D. Lee. That's the dude that took me, and what it was D was the original owner of the Laugh House.
Yeah, Laugh House.
So
okay.
Now, what a lot of people don't know is how that came to be.
Yeah.
So I played basketball in the city, all over the city, AAU, semi-pro once I got out of college and all that. So I would always be a nigga running around playing basketball games. They used to have this great run at the Bellevue, this sport club atop the Bellevue, which was like some ritzy club, health club. Yeah. But you could get a day pass, and the runs was like great because they had like Dr. J in there and Maurice Cheek. Like the Sixers would be in there. The Sixers would be in there. Villanova niggas, working out, but they run ball with you.
Oh yeah.
So it was great runs in there. So I'm in there one day, and there's this white dude, man. I'm killing him, but we laughing so much at some of the stuff I'm saying to him that we kind of like busting it up on the court. So like between games, we were talking. He's like, "Man, you're a funny guy, man." I was like, "Yeah, I'm at Temple." He's like, "Okay." I don't even know if he told me what he do. Because white people they kind of get in your business without giving you theirs.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing to me. So he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "I actually just started doing comedy a little while ago." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I own a comedy club on South Street. It's called Catch a Rising Star."
Oh, I've heard of it.
I said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Yeah, man, you should come down." So at the time, me and D were like doing independent shows. We were renting banquet halls and
like just that. Making it happen like that.
Right, but D had just got on morning radio in Philly. So he had that bargaining shit.
That's big.
And what he did was he went in and I introduced him to Eric. That was Eric Blumenfeld.
Okay.
Now this Eric Blumenfeld owns shit in Philadelphia. He owns the block that the Laugh House was on.
Gotcha.
To this day.
Gotcha.
Like his money long. Old money. Blumenfeld's money goes back to his daddy, who go back to his daddy before him, who go back to the Strawbridges and Clothiers.
Yeah.
If you ever heard of that company, like Strawbridges and Gimbals and all those departments.
Gimbals?
Yeah. That's where he comes from.
That's long money.
The comedy club was just a little something he was doing.
A little side hustle.
So D striking this deal just meant I ain't got to run that club, and it's and it's going to still make money.
Yeah.
But with D coming in, it took on an urban effect. Like we both black.
Yeah.
We turned y'all made that
the black club.
So we turned it to anyway. So that was my beginnings, and being next to him afforded me the stage.
Yeah, you were host. I would host right?
every night. Like if D didn't want to host, I would host. If D was like, "Well, you feature," or I wanted to do a guest spot, And I learned the hard way. I learned no. I learned this headliner don't want you to do a guest spot, or you gotta ask the headliner. I remember one night it's packed, niggas. I wanted to get on so bad, Paul Mooney there, and I'm like, yo, I gotta get on there. Everybody telling me no, but I know the rules. I'm like, well, let me ask him. Can I ask him?
Oh shit!
And because I'm, I kind of work at the club, they like, all right, they couldn't stop me from getting to him to ask him. And I said, Mr. Mooney, please, I just need 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I respect the stage, and I'll be funny. And he's like, you bring your little ass off stage in 5 minutes. Don't make me come get you, motherfucker.
All right.
And I went, you know what I'm saying? But that's how I learned. Like, you gotta ask, you gotta respect.
Yeah, you gotta
get your ass off stage. You gotta understand if they say no, it ain't them hating. Oh, this nigga hate. It ain't hating. You don't feel like that shit tonight.
Exactly. And the funny thing about that is that you learn that coming up in clubs. I heard you mention that earlier.
Right.
Like a lot of these cats, man, like especially nowadays, they don't come in clubs. Right, they doing everything in all these, like they rented this place and this and that. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah. But when you come up in a club, you learn about that light. You learn about that mic stand. Right. You learn about respecting people's time. You learn about them club owners. Yeah, I get it.
I always say urban comedy is bad practice.
I get it.
And as it exists today, I wouldn't call it how they tried to label it back in the day as urban was all black, or the chitlin circuit is really the chitlin circuit.
Yeah.
The chitlin circuit is a necessary thing to any artist.
Yeah.
But it's bad practice once you become good enough to work both.
Yes.
That circuit over there, that business, that club, they run on time because you are nothing. It's dinner theater. They're there to sell drinks and food. You're the distraction.
Thank you.
So you don't learn that. Until you get over there. And I thankfully came up in a club and then went out and did the rooms and all that. So I understood the difference. Like, it's just a room, man. Get in, get out, get your time done, get out of here.
Exactly. So there was a YouTube video floating around. This is the reason why I asked you. I've always wanted to ask you this too. About the comedy fraternity. Man, one of the dopest motherfucking YouTube videos I've ever seen. It was, I wrote the names down just so I can remember it. Keith Robinson, Godfrey, the great Patrice O'Neal, who me and you already talked about, Hannibal Buress, Harris Stanton, and his Patrice girl, Vonda Carlo Brown. And y'all was just sitting outside shooting the shit. I don't know if you can remember that.
Yeah.
But dude, when I saw that, I was like, this is the shit I want to know about, because that's when I was new in the game. I was like, I want to know how that shit came about to where all these great comedians just kind of sitting here. And keep in mind, some people was just, coming up, blah, blah, blah. But I remember Patrice talking about Hannibal. It's like, I remember when I first saw his little eyes. And so, man, how y'all was just like kicking it, man. I didn't know what that was, but I was like, man, this is the kind of shit I want to know about when it comes to these stand-up comedians.
Yeah, that was one of Patrice's cookouts. Patrice used to have a cookout at Thanksgiving, and Patrice used to live in Jersey City. So, he would have 4th of July cookout and Thanksgiving dinner. There's so many comedians in the metropolitan New York area. Everybody can't afford to get home for Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, holidays. So Patrice used to have a cookout.
Ain't that a trip?
Behind his house. Like, we were sitting, it looked like outside, but we were basically in his driveway.
Oh, okay.
And that's where we would set up the grill and, sit out there and talk. So, I remember, like, the genesis of that conversation is so funny because it's funny we talk about the shit and it's still intertwined.
Yeah.
They will always give me shit for doing so much black shit, like Comic View and Def Jam. They
was getting on you.
And I was getting you take Def Jam with me, nigga. I was like, nigga, I got pictures of you. Like, so that's what it was. And then Godfrey had just taped Comics Unleashed, and they was giving him shit for that.
Yeah.
And he was like, something, and he threw me under the bus. He was like, TuRae did it with me. I was like, so it was just the way we were.
Y'all was just like, it was a busting ball. Y'all was just
busting balls.
Fucking with each other.
Funny because
I loved it.
Hannibal came late, and he came in a cab, but it was like a gypsy cab. So
shit.
It was like black, and it was beat up. So I remember as he's walking towards us, Keith was like, Hannibal just got out of a bad cast.
Everybody died.
Right, man. But I miss my friend.
Man, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Patrice was my friend. Like, I didn't realize how big he was until he passed and it was on TMZ. And I'm like, wow, not to say I didn't know. I was, I guess, blinded by our friendship. I was blinded by the fact that I could just call this guy, or he would call me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'd be together on like Thanksgiving. And we spent a lot of time together because when he was I moved to Newark and he was my big brother. I would go over his crib, I would chill, I was just starting to do a lot more industry things. I would ask him, I would pick his brain. I knew he would keep it real with me, and he would tell me, like, yo, they gonna throw you to the wall, see what stick. If you don't, fuck it, they gonna throw you to the wall again. Like, it don't really, don't really get off your rocker trying to figure out what they want from you. Just keep doing what you've been doing, and whatever works, they'll figure that shit out how to make money off of it. So I say that to say, he was real to me.
He's so, man, authentic as any comedian I've ever seen.
Yeah, like, all right, I'll tell you a quick Patrice story, and then I know you gotta ask questions.
I love it.
Def Jam, all right. So we go do Def Jam. I told you I got a stepdad. So my stepdad is, a fair skinned man, where my mom is a little more brown. So and my mom is taller than my stepdad. So we walking up, and then one of my parents come to every TV tape because I just want them to enjoy.
Exactly.
The lifestyle, the free stuff in the back and the red carpet in the trailer. So one of my parents, this was Def Jam, so both my parents came. And we walking up, and I say to Patrice, this is my mom and my dad, and my mom is no nonsense, Scorpio woman, strong black woman, no, don't play that shit. I said, my mom and my dad. Patrice said, that ain't your dad. Get the fuck out of here. My mom just bust out laughing because she knew he meant no harm.
Exactly.
If he meant anything slick, she'd have ripped him in half.
Yeah.
She just bust out laughing, but she knew he meant, and that was the genius and the magic and the love of Patrice. He could say what he was saying. He could tell you the truth, and you knew he wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. It was just the truth.
Also heard he was just like a gentle giant too. Like I had no idea. Like I said, that was his house, and that he was doing a barbecue for comedians. The
4th of July thing, you might not look at it like that, but Thanksgiving was real. Like Thanksgiving, man.
That's big.
If you think that lineup was crazy, like Thanksgiving was.
Oh shit!
Everybody Thanksgiving. See, 4th of July, it's mostly black.
Yeah.
Because the white comedians be doing other shit on 4th of July. They be boating.
So he probably had like Opie and Anthony and all the motherfuckers over there.
Thanksgiving was like Rich Voss and Jim Norton
and all that.
Everybody, you like, damn. I remember Will Sylvance tapped out on a word in Thanksgiving. Like, he gave up on a word. Like, anybody know Will Sylvance, great comedian.
I know him. Shout out Will Sylvance.
Yeah, but Will he's Haitian. He has a heavy ass accent and lisp. He got a lot of shit going on. Like,
he said he just tapped out on the word.
Like, he tapped out on the word. Like, he was like, I think it looked like it was like let's say like hesitant. Yeah. And he was like, well, man, the guy he just shook his head and walked up. He's like, Will, did you just give up on a word? Like, all right. So last week, one Thanksgiving, he premieres Elephant in the Room for us.
Amazing.
Before it airs on Comedy Central, he lets us watch it. It's one of the first times I've seen Patrice happy. It reminds me on the scene on Notorious when Biggie's listening to Sky's the Limit and he starts laughing to himself. He's like, I'm the greatest.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm the greatest.
Exactly.
It was like that. Patrice looked around the room and saw that he had done a great special and that we appreciated it. And I remember his look on his face, because Patrice could be so cynical about
everything
being good,
from what I heard,
and being accepted as good. Like, nigga, that was funny. Like, that would be, what you think? I'm not gonna be funny. Patrice, just take the compliment.
Exactly,
and that's what it was. He took the compliment when he let us watch it. So.
Man, a cat that we didn't. Well, I don't want to say we didn't, but just didn't get all of his flowers when he was here.
Yes, sir.
And so when I heard that he passed, I just saw his documentary the other day, man.
It yet.
Man, it's
gonna take me a minute.
Yep, it probably is. Like I said, you're a good friend of his. but it was a really good documentary. They should be proud of it. But yeah, man, clearly a dude that, I'm glad everybody giving him his flowers now.
Yeah.
But he should have got him when he was here, definitely, man. All right, so we just get into some of your stuff that you are doing right now, man. Like I said, you're back on stage. I hear you got your own podcast as well.
Yeah, man. I started Life is Funny, Keep Laughing podcast, so I'm doing that. Put out 2 albums.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hope to put out another one right before we go back to the world opening up, and just really made a conscious effort to start working on content.
Yeah.
And control of it, because that's what I saw happen during the pandemic. It's like, yo, if you had stuff in the can, you was good. If you had nothing in the can,
exactly.
So, yeah,
that forced us to go back. Yeah. And I heard Roy Wood say, man, Roy Wood Jr., shout out to that's my dog.
Yeah.
He said, hey man, everything that you done had like before that, what's the name? You're gonna only be able to use that sparingly. Yes. We're gonna have to get a whole. It's gonna be before AD, before Christ, after AD joke.
Right.
Yup.
Material.
Definitely.
Point of view. All that got to change.
All that.
You got to be consistent with it and be able to make it through. So I think comedians can.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
I definitely know. I'm looking forward to the challenge.
We forward to the challenge.
Yeah,
that's what we do. Yeah. Exactly. And last but not least, I always ended on like, man, who you fanning on right now? Is there anybody that makes TuRae laugh? Now this could be comedians like, that's coming up that nobody know about, or like some of the kings that's out there doing what you do. Some of the big time comedians. Just who make TuRae laugh?
You know what? I'll answer it and say it's a lot of cats. But let me tell y'all something right quick. In Atlanta, man, there's a comedy culture that y'all have got to experience. These young cats, these OGs that's down here, the crowds. And I'm not just talking about now during the pandemic. Maybe because it's during the pandemic and I've been down here working, I've had a chance to sit back and appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it's always been like this. And there's a level of Southern humor that you're not getting everywhere unless you come here and see some of these cats, man. I don't think I've laughed at comedians I don't know this much. I seen a young man Throat Off Wine.
Throat Off Wine.
His name is Wine, but his name on Instagram is Throat Off Wine.
Oh, okay. Shout out to him.
Don't get me right. Shout out to him. And I posted this on his page.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He might be up on his way coming, but the man just had such a truthful, funny line that I fell like. He said, because he was performing Uptown. He's up to Uptown, and nobody, there was a party going on. Niggas wasn't really paying no mind. He said, man, I'm young, man. I fuck around. Y'all laugh at me. I fuck around, shoot this whole crowd up, throw my whole life away. Real nigga shit. Nigga. When I tell you. Because he was just so matter of factly real.
Hell yeah.
I was like,
he might do that too.
Right, he's like, I'm young, nigga. I fuck around, shoot this whole crowd up.
He might
throw my whole life away.
He might do that.
Right, so
I feel you.
I appreciate so many comedians I've seen this week, to just watch and see them different styles and different points of view. So all I want to say is it's a lot of cats that I'm fanning on, and I'm fanning on the cats that's still grinding and trying to do the live stand-up comedy thing.
Yes.
All y'all that's in that genre, I respect you. Keep doing it. I'd love to see you keep bringing it. Keep making me better. Goddamn it.
Keep grinding with that. Yes. Hey man, thank you so much for this, man. Like you already know, man. Appreciate it. Hey, yo, thanks so much for checking out the pod. A very special thanks to my man, comedian TuRae. Make sure y'all check out his social media for future show and date information. Stay tuned for another episode of the Comedy Chatter podcast with another super dope comedian and, of course, me, Meldon Williams. Y'all be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Peace out.